Azure Service Bus is used for decoupling two applications. We have two types of communication in the applications. One is synchronous and another one is asynchronous. So in case of synchronous communication, one application which wants to communicate with another application, it can send messages instantly. And in case of asynchronous communication, we need to use a middleware to store the messages. Suppose we have two applications, application A and application B. So application A is sender and application B is receiver. So take this example. We can think this example. So we have a web application which is sender and it needs to send email messages to the customers. Okay. So what we will do, when there is any event in web application, for sending, on completion of that event, we need to send email to the customer. In that case, web application will send message to queue. So this is the message queue. Okay. And the receiver, the second application which is going to process the email, it will pull the message from the queue and then it will send to the actual customer. Okay. So we have two options here. So one is to send the email instantly, or we can have one more example like sending SMS. Either we can send SMS and email instantly from the web application, or we can do one thing, we can push it to a middleware, or we can say a queue or a database. Okay, from where we can from where the another application which is going to process the messages and which ultimately will have the logic for sending the email and SMS. So it can pull the message from the queue and then it can process. Okay, so using this approach, asynchronous communication, we can increase the performance of web application. So because if you are going to send SMS or email, in that case we need to communicate with third party servers, and they might be busy, they might be like they might be off, they may not be online. In that case, our message will fail, or if server is too busy, in that case it will take time to send the email or SMS. So the asynchronous communication is preferred over the synchronous communication. So for this purpose, we are going to use Azure Service Bus. So in Service Bus, we have two options. One is queue and another one is topic. So this is the queue, okay, and this one is topic. So in case of queue, we have one sender and one receiver. So sending, so there is a one application which will send messages to the queue, and there will be one application which is going to process the message by pulling it from the queue. Okay. In case of topic, we have one application which is sending the messages to service bus, and instead of queue, we are using topic. Okay. So in case of topic, there can be n number of receivers. Suppose take the example of sending the email and SMS. So our web application is adding the message in service bus, and we have separate applications. One application for sending email and one application for sending SMS. We can have one more application for auditing purpose, so which can track the email and SMS when they are triggered. So we have n number of applications on this side on receiving end, and we have one sender application. In this case, we need to use topic. Okay, so each application needs to subscribe to topic. Okay, So there are like if there are n number of receivers, so there will be n number of subscriptions. So each application needs to subscribe to topic, and whenever there is any event for sending the messages in the service bus, in that case the message will be added in the topic, in which all receivers will be notified. So they will get a unique copy of the message. The generated message is one, but there will be n number of receivers. Okay. So we have two entities, queue and topic in Azure Service Bus. So first of all, let us create a Azure Service Bus in Azure portal, and then we will see how to use that in the code. So we will create one application which will add message in the queue, and we will add one application which will actually receive the message from the queue. Okay. In the middleware, we have Azure Service Bus which we create in Azure. So this is your Azure portal. So click on create a resource and click on this integration, and now click on Service Bus. Okay. So uh, first of all, we have to create namespace. So you can think namespace as a container for the queue and topics. Okay. So we have to give a unique name to the namespace. And first of all, we need to select a resource group. So we can select existing resource group, or we can create new one. So I'm selecting this one, demo, and we have to give a unique namespace name. And we have multiple pricing tiers, so they are according to performance. So I'm selecting this one, standard. Now click on review plus create. Click on this create button. Till then we can do one thing, we can create a console application for sending the message. Click on create a new project. So select this one, console application. Click on next. Whatever we are going to write, the code will be same in case of console application or web application, because it is C# code, it will be same. Uh, Input the name. Then click on create. Now service bus is created. So click on this, go to resource, and here we can create queue as well as topic. So in today's session we will see queue, in next session we will see topic. So click on this queue. So by default it is its capacity is 1 GB, so we can store messages up to 1 GB. Click on create button. So currently there is no message. So if you add messages, in that case you can see from portal. Currently there is no messages. So inside a service bus, we can have multiple queues as well as multiple topics. And now we need to find the connection string. So click on this shared access policies. Select this one, root manage shared access key. And we need to use this connection string, primary, secondary. Both we can use. Primary connection string, we just need to copy this. So this is the connection string for connecting to the service bus, and we need to provide the queue name in the C# code. So using this connection string, you can connect from any .NET code. I mean any .NET application, whether it is Windows service or console application, web application, or desktop application. So it will work for everyone. So console application is created, and now we need to install one NuGet package. So this is a NuGet package, azure.messaging.service bus. Copy this one. Click on tools, NuGet package manager console. So package is installed. We need to import two libraries working this Azure Service Bus. These are the two libraries. So we have imported two libraries for working in this demo, and now we need to add the code. So first of all, we need to mention connection string and the queue name. So connection string. So this is the connection string. The queue name. So we need to copy queue name. Copy this queue name. So using this connection string and queue name, now we will connect to service bus in cloud. Okay. So for connecting to service bus, we have a class service bus client. Okay. So it will be used for connecting to service bus. And this class service bus sender, it is representing the application which is sending the message. So for representing the application, sender application, we have this class service bus sender. In a batch, we will send 3 messages. So this is just for demo. We can increase as per our need. Okay. So basically, we are creating a batch of messages, and in one batch, we are actually adding 3 messages and then sending that message to the queue. So this is the main method which will execute, and we are creating the object of service bus client. So we have already declared a variable client of type service bus client, and now we are providing connection string. So this service bus client will be used to connect to queue in the Azure Service Bus. And now we are basically creating the object, this object sender. So it is representing the application which is sending the message. So we have this method create sender, and then we are actually providing queue name. Okay, so connection string and queue name, these two things will be used for connecting to Azure Service Bus. We are creating a batch. So batch is a collection of messages, or you can say group of messages. So we have created this group, and now we have number of messages as 3. Okay, using this for loop, we are adding 3 messages one by one in this batch. Okay, so in message batch, we are adding the message, and message is simple string. So the first message will be message 1, then message 2, and message 3. So we are just incrementing this I. So we will have 3 string messages in the batch, and after that we are adding that batch in the queue. So using this method, all the messages in the batch will be added in the queue, and then we are disposing the objects. So add a breakpoint. So now check in the queue, there is no message. So currently there is no message. Now run this application. Client is created, center application is created. It is a batch. Now we are adding messages in the batch. So first message we have added, second message. Now we are adding this all the batch of 3 messages in the queue. So these messages are added. Now we can check. You can see we have 3 messages, and there is no message in that letter because no application has processed or there is no failure. So in this queue we have 3 active messages. Now we will add one more application for basically pulling from this queue. So we can create a new project, a new solution, or we can add a new console application in the same solution. Choice is ours. Add a console application. Again, we need to install the same NuGet package in the NuGet package manager. And before that, we need to make this application as default application. This one. Right click here. That is startup project. So we need to select this one, receiver app demo, because we are going to install the NuGet package in this project. So package is installed in receiver app demo. Again, we need to import the same libraries which we have used in sender application. These two libraries we need to import. And now we need to provide connection string name to connect to Azure Service Bus. We can have there is one class processor for processing the messages one by one. So use the same connection string. We can copy the queue name first project. This is the queue name. And again, we have a service bus client for connecting to Azure Service Bus. And instead of sender application, we have this service bus processor. So service bus processor, it will process message one by one. So we are going to use a generic delegate here. So this main method will be executed, and we have created object of service bus client, provided the connection string and provided the queue name. So processor will process each and every message from the queue. So you can see the definition. So this is basically a generic delegate. So process message async. So it is a generic delegate, and we are actually assigning the methods which are going to handle the messages one by one. Okay, so for each message, this message handler will be called. If there is any error, in that case, error handler will be called. So we have attached the methods for processing the message. So when you call this processor dot start processing async. Okay, so after this line, the the processing application, or you can say the receiver application, this console application will start receiving the messages one by one, and in that case, message handler will be called. Okay? So each and every message will be sent to message handler. We don't need any loop. Okay? So as like if there are three messages or there are six messages, so it will call up to that number. Like if there are three messages, in that case it will call three times. If there are six messages, In that case, it will call 6 times, and each time it will have a unique message. So this all happens when we call this method start processing async. We will retrieve the actual message using this message.body.toString. So this string body, it will have the actual content of the message, and once we have the content of the message, then we can process as per our logic. So at this breakpoint here, at the breakpoint in error handler, so similar to message handler, error hand if there is any error in processing the message, in that case error handler will be called. And once we are done with the processing, in that after that we will actually call this method completed message async to mark the message as completed. Once the message is marked as completed, after that it will be deleted from the queue. So this is the default application. So receiver application will start. So we are creating client object and processor for processing the messages. And now we are assigning the method using the delegate. Again, error handler using the delegate. And now the actual message processing will be started. So you can see this message handler will be called automatically. We can see the content of the message. So this is message 1. So we have added 3 messages, message 1, message 2 and message 3. So this is the first message. Now this method is called again. And this is message 2. So we have processed 2 messages. On message 3. This is message 3. Okay, so all 3 messages are processed. And now we can check in Azure portal. Okay. So prior to processing, we have 3 active messages. Now refresh this page again. So you can see there is no active message. Okay, all the messages are processed. So we have created a sender application to send the messages in the queue, okay, using the connection string and queue name. And after that, we have created a receiver application to receive the messages from the queue using the same connection string and queue name. And we have assigned a generic delegate, and using the generic delegate, we have attached methods for processing the message one by one, and all the messages are processed.